Hey guys, this is Ray with Hollander here today to talk about a setting within eLink called part type settings or part type preferences. And for today's webinar, we're actually going to be splitting it into two parts. The first part, we'll talk about what the heck a part type preferences is, how to go about making one, where to find it within eLink, and how using them can help save you time in getting your parts ready to be listed onto eBay. Part two, we'll talk about an advanced feature of part type settings called AutoList and how it can be used to help speed up the rate and velocity in which parts get listed to eBay. And whatever you decide to use them for, whether you have 1 or 100 part type settings set up, we absolutely recommend getting on this if you haven't done so yet. For you eLink yards out there, we think now is the time, especially more now than ever, when businesses are making cuts, people are getting laid off. More of a focus is being put onto selling online. Setting up things like this where you can automate the more mundane steps involved with getting your parts listed onto eBay, and that whole process will absolutely be beneficial to you. And these settings are something that will not only going to help, at least indirectly, with increasing your sales online, also help cut down on operational costs, the time that it takes to list. Even though it might not seem like a lot, if it's just a few steps here and there, if you times that by, think of how many days you spend doing that, it'll add up to hours, right? And so this is really a good and efficient way to help assist you in growing and scaling your online business. So what the heck is a part type preference? Well, as you can imagine, it's a preference, it's a setting within eLink that will allow you to automatically update certain fields every time a new part is inventoried. As far as where to find it, if you can see my screen is up, it's the eLink test account. We'll go ahead and find that setting. And we'll start by clicking the settings tab and the tab that says part types. This will bring you to your part type preference page with a list of all the settings. The first one you see here is the global setting. This is always going to be there by default. Changes here, as you can imagine, are going to happen globally. It's going to happen to everything that gets inventoried. So it's important to know you don't want to really touch this setting unless you're 100% comfortable with that same field getting updated on every single part type. A good example of this, though, would be like your warranty length. If you have a standard 6-month warranty on all part types, regardless of what they are, that would be a great thing to add within your global settings. Make sure that you never have to add that ever again when going to list your parts. So there won't be many changes that have to be made within your global setting. Everything below it, as you can imagine, these are for individual parts. You can also bucket multiple part types within each of these settings if you want. We recommend making as many as you can. And even though it might take a little bit of time to set up on the front end, the goal obviously is to help save you more time in the long run. The more of them that you create, the more of a benefit it'll have in terms of time savings for you. So let's go ahead and go through the steps of making a new preference with AutoList enabled. And it's only 4 steps, really easy to do. We're going to use headlights for an example, and since we already have one made for my last example, we'll go ahead and delete it first and make it all over again. So to start, we're going to select create new preference. Here's where we name it. We can name it whatever we want. This is going to be for your reference, guys. Your reference and whoever else is in eLink. So something consistent, something that says what it is, would be good. We'll call this one headlight with an S. Throw in there. Next, we'll hit next. And here's where we select from the list of part types which part types we want to be applied within this part type setting. Like I said, you can add as many as you want. We recommend making as many unique ones as you can to make sure that every part type is unique as it possibly can be. But if you want to combine ones that are similar, like headlights and taillights, you could also do that. And we can either enter the part type number up in the top if you know it by heart and hit add, it'll show up here. Or if you don't know it, you can select from the list down here, just like when you go to list something. Same search function as within the other tab there. All right, when we have everything selected, we'll hit next. And look at that, we're already halfway through. Step 2, specify listing details. This page should look familiar, right? If you've ever made a bulk revision to items within eLink, this is exactly what you see. These are the fields that you're going to want to update on every single headlight every time a new one is inventoried. So think, which fields can be shared, right? Which ones are unique for that part? Which ones can be shared? We'll start by hitting item details. Title would be a good example of something that cannot be shared, right? It's going to be unique for every single item. So not something we want to add in bulk. Subtitle, on the other hand, for those that don't know, this is the small little gray text that shows up right underneath your title. It's going to be visible to the user in search results before they even click on your listing. They're going to see this text under the title. They're going to see it after clicking into your listing. It's prime real estate. And even though keywords within your subtitle are not going to be searchable, unlike your title, subtitle is still a great spot to add any kind of marketing, warranty information that you can to help entice more clicks. I will mention that this is something that I think eBay charges around $3 per listing for. As a Hollander customer, for you Hollander customers out there, you get unlimited subtitles for free. So it makes absolutely sense to take advantage of them. In this case, we'll go with something generic. And for my last example, we have highest quality guaranteed 6-month warranty. And of course, best practice for subtitles, just like titles, is to not capitalize the first letter. Is not capitalize everything, but only to capitalize the first letter of every word. Next, we'll select our template. If we have a unique template for headlights, we can select that here. Or if we just want to go generic, by default, we'll select Hollander Standard. Description. So this is, of course, how you want to describe the part. Do you want to use a general generic description for every single headlight? Or do you want to provide specific descriptions for each part? Or maybe a combination of both. Maybe you want to start by putting something generic here as a foundation, and then make changes on a one-off basis after the part is inventoried. Doesn't matter if it's listed or unlisted. You can always go back and change individual headlights to whatever you want. This is, again, this is only going to apply at the time that it gets inventoried within eLink, and if you choose to list that item on eBay. We'll put no change. Item condition. This is new, used, refurbished. This will default to whatever you have selected at the time of inventory. So we do not need to put anything here. Prices. So if we're going to be adding free shipping, which we absolutely recommend that you do for as many parts as you can, it's become the new retail standard. It's what buyers have come to expect online. Adding free shipping will be hugely beneficial to driving more purchases and driving more visibility for you in search. And if you've done this before, just like any seller realizes, is that shipping is never really free. It's always going to be worked into the price in some way or another. And so this would be a great place to work that price in. If we know that the average markup or the average cost to ship a headlight is going to be $25, we can go ahead and add that average in here, just like you do when you go to list something. So we'll start by doing listing format, change to fixed price. And under fixed price, we're going to go increase by value. By the way, a rule of thumb here, if you're going to be adding $25, instead put $24.99. And really the idea here is just end it in something unique. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be 99, 88, 98, whatever it is. Ending it in something like this will make the price look more attractive to buyers in search, right? It's that old retail trick. It's not $200, it's $199.99. For whatever reason, we humans think we're getting a better deal, or at least that's the way it looks. So it'll make it look a little bit better, make your listing look a little bit more professional. And one of the biggest benefits is it'll make it easier for you to see at a glance within eLink which of your items have been marked up and which ones have not before clicking into the listing. For example, you go to your listed tab or unlisted tab, you'll know that anything that ends in 98 cents has been marked up by looking at the price. So best offer, another thing we always recommend doing, best offer and really any kind of engagement that seller has with the buyer before the, during a transaction will help increase the chance of conversion or sale. So we're going to help select yes, we want best offer enabled. Next, under part details, e-commerce description, brand, these will be unique for the part types, so we're not going to select anything here. Under warranty, we're going to go ahead and select our 6-month warranty. Again, if we wanted to put this globally on everything, we could do that within our global settings. Next, we're going to add our shipping, payment, and return presets. And we're going to go with our free standard shipping with 1-day handling time. PayPal for best offer and quoted freight for our payment preset. And our 60-day return policy for our return preset. Okay. Next, and we'll close these up here. Under categories, quick note for those that don't know the difference between eBay categories and store categories. eBay categories will be how eBay catalogs your listing amongst its millions of other listings, right? It's their way of organizing and indexing everything. Hollander customers, there's interchange for the part type. We will take care of assigning it to the 2 most relevant categories automatically. So that's not something that you would have to worry about within the setting. Store category would be that for your storefront. Every seller has their unique storefront, their unique URL that someone can go to and see a list of all of their inventory that's listed onto eBay. And as a seller, you also have the option of making your own store categories to make it easier for buyers to navigate through all of your inventory and find what they're looking for. That would be an excellent thing to utilize if you have them made within your part type setting. And I don't know if we have any made for the test account. We can check that here. And it looks like we do, lights. And we even have 2 subcategories, headlights and taillights. Go and select headlights. And that's it. That's really part 1, right? Which fields are going to be automatically updated? In this example, we have our subtitle, our price markup, our template, our shipping, return, and payment presets, our warranty, and our store category. Ideally, I mean, the idea here is that we'll never have to do that again manually on any headlights. So we'll go ahead and hit next. Okay, page 3, define AutoList preferences. Important to note, if you do not want the item to automatically list to eBay, you will not select anything on this page. All you'll have to do is hit next and hit apply changes on the next page. For those that do want items to automatically list, that's great because that's what we'll be covering in this tutorial. So in this example, let's say we want headlights to automatically list. The first question you want to ask yourself is, what is the criteria I use for listing headlights? Chances are the criteria that we use here will be the same filters that you use when you go to list them manually, right? Let's say, for the sake of example, because we had a free shipping, one-day handling, shipping preset selected, that we want to select only unbolted items to get automatically listed with that policy so that we know we can get them out the door quicker. Next, one of the most important things, we want to make sure that it's priced. We'll say we want it anything priced above $25. Select all the boxes here. If you use a grading system, this is where you'd select that. Say we want only A and B grade. If you don't worry about selecting anything. Next, images. Of course, we do not want anything to list that does not have an image, whether it's a picture of the actual part, which is ideal, or a picture of the vehicle. Most often, a picture of the front of a crushed vehicle. It doesn't matter. Something is better than nothing. I think in this case, we'll take the shotgun approach and we'll list both part images and vehicle images. Remember, you can always go back and modify listings after they're up, right? It's better to get them listed first and then go back and make whatever changes you want to make. If you want to make the title better, if you want to get better pictures, get them listed first, right? And if that item happens to sell in the time that it takes you to get to it, or before you get to it, optimizing it, that's all the better, right? One less thing you have to do. Get them listed first, optimize later. Next, mileage. Mileage, not so much relevant in the case of headlights, so we won't select anything there. Next, if that's all the criteria that you want, of course, we just hit next. Another option would be using the conditions and options, which is that field that your inventory guys will make notes to in some cases. For PowerLink yards, there's a conditions and options field within PowerLink that carries over to eLink, that carries over to eBay. For Pinnacle yards, this would be equivalent to your comments field. The comments field within Pinnacle transfers over to the conditions and options within eLink and then over to eBay. So why does that matter here? Well, think about keywords that your inventory guys use for part types like this, like headlights. Is there any keywords that you want to use to exclude or include headlights that get listed? Good example of this would be like the word cracked, right? If the word cracked is contained within this field, we're putting conditions and options does not contain cracked. By doing that, we're making sure that nothing gets listed with that keyword within the conditions and options. And you can do that for multiple keywords. Last, one of the things that you want to make sure that gets added, just as a safety measure, is this. Retail price is not equal to 0. What does that do? Well, it makes sure that if you get something inventory that is not priced, that does not have a retail price, and the part type preference updates it by adding that $25 markup that we included, or let's say that's $26. The price of that item is now $26, and according to this criteria, it will be automatically listed. And so in order to prevent that, you always want to make sure that if you're setting up automatic listing settings, that you have retail price is not equal to 0. Excuse me. And that's it. We have our criteria set. We're going to go ahead and hit next. Finally, step 4, review and save your preferences. We go and review everything that we just did. We find that checkbox at the bottom, go ahead and select it and hit apply and save preference. And as you can see, that new preference we just made is now displayed. Important to note here is that changes made within your part type settings will only apply to new inventory coming in from the time that you make the change. I'll say this another way. Everything that we just updated, the subtitle, the price markup, things like that, that will only apply to new headlights that get inventoried from right now moving forward. It's not going to retroactively update anything, any of the headlights that you have within your unlisted or listed tab. And so if you want to make sure that everything is consistent and that everything has the same markup, subtitle, so forth, you want to make a rule that every time you make a modification to your part type setting, you apply those same changes to your unlisted and possibly your listed items too. So same deal, go to unlisted, do a search for our 114s. We select all, bulk change. We do everything we just did with the subtitle, the price markup, the warranty, the shipping, payment, returns, and the store category, and hit update. That'll make sure that everything that you inventoried yesterday is going to be in line with everything that will be inventoried tomorrow. It's good practice to get into. So that does it for today's webinar. I want to thank you all again for taking time out of your busy schedules to spend some time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to the channel. We do have a written PDF available of everything that we covered just now. If you want to save it to your computer or print it out, give it to employees, this is what it looks like. It looks like a lot more than what it is. Don't let it fool you. It's very easy to follow. It's a good reference piece. We spent a lot of time making it. If you want to request a copy or any other questions you have related to this, just shoot us an email at ebay@hollanderparts.com. Again, that's ebay@hollanderparts.com. And again, if you want to request any new content or questions on this or anything else, feel free to either email us at that email or drop us a comment in the comment section. Thanks again, guys. Have a good day.